Welcome to another episode of the 100% podcast with me, your host, Harry Purdy. You are now listening to a 20,000 plus download episode of the podcast. Let's go. It's taken a while, but we've got there. Today, I'm welcoming back in due time a returning guest. He is a legend of the pod. He's been on many, many times before. Health and wellness expert, gym owner of Fat Loss Fastlane, Mr. Robb McGeary.
Can't keep me away.
Can't keep you away, brother. And
it's like
never will I. Never will I. I'm gonna just throw in there, mate. That was a nice little moment the other day for me. Seeing it just tick over that 20,000. It's been a long time coming. I didn't get to celebrate the first 10,000 properly because I was in the transition of going between hosting platforms. So the statistics never really showed very well. But now we've hit the 20,000. It just it shows. One thing that I did do though is I did the dreaded I was like, I wonder how many episodes. Wonder how many downloads that works out an episode. And I was like, oh fuck, it's not even that many. But still,
but it's still a fucking landmark, right?
Milestone. Yeah,
100%. It's a milestone. You know, it's the same as any other fucking endeavor. You've got to go through those smaller ones first. And then I was like, bigger, you know?
I did the in a good way. I was like, how many episodes has Chris Williamson got to get to where he's at now? I think it's like 2.5 million subscribers, right? Yeah. And then you see how many episodes he's released. It's 780 something, and you're like, wow. And he's popping them 2 times a week, and you just, you have to put yourself into a bit of perspective and say this is my competitors. Because essentially in the podcast world, we speak about the same kind of shit, right? Him on a bit more of a deeper front, me on a more lighter-hearted front, but still trying to give people the tools to go and better themselves in this thing that we call life. But yeah, it was a nice milestone for me for sure.
Awesome, man. And none of these things happen by accident. It's not, you didn't get to 20,000 downloads by accident. People don't randomly hunt out podcasts. They don't. So it's through the power of sharing, the power of the guests that you're getting on, the audience that they've got as well. It's doing the smart thing within your power at the start. How many people start the podcast? And what is it? They don't get beyond
20
episodes, 20 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Because they think that there's someone already and that they've got something. It's the fucking Ricky Gervais, it's David Brent in The Office, where he's going to his agent, get me on Parkinson. I've got things to say, but people won't listen. You're like, no, everyone's got something to say, but no one else gives a fuck.
It's like we all
unless you're willing to put it in.
Yeah, we all know that person as well that, bless them, they think their opinion is the only one and won't ever even consider listening to somebody else's side of the argument. You've only, I know you're not massive into football, but you've only got to see that when a great big international tournament's on, for example, people go into Facebook to share what they think is the way that England should be playing and whatnot. And you're like, come on, how can you back that opinion up there anyway? We could go on a rant about that.
Mate, I saw a great meme just this morning, actually, that it won't be hard to find the replacement for Gareth Southgate because there's 50 million men in every pub every weekend telling them how he should have done the job anyway, you know?
Exactly.
Just grab one of them.
100%, man. It's so true. Anyway, we'll go to today's subjects. We've got a few of the I've called it like a trending topic episode today. We've got a few things that are coming down, and we may even drop in a bit of a chat about the Donald Trump situation in America because madness. Yeah, but boy. One thing that I've taken a little bit of an interest in trying to get my views and likes and interaction on TikTok up recently, which TikTok in itself is a crazy world. It's almost like another dimension when you go on it, and you do. I'm very much a creator on there rather than I am somebody who watches the content that's on there. I may occasionally watch a viral dance that's happened or something like that, but in terms of the things that I want to put on there and I want to come off it. But if you do end up spending 5 minutes popping through online stores, people selling you fucking 150 rolls of toilet roll, people chatting absolute bollocks, people trying to cancel Eminem, and you're just like, wow, what a place.
TikTok's the wildest one. I think TikTok made all the others go wilder. Twitter was always the one a lot of people didn't veer into. And Twitter used to be just 148 words, no pictures, no videos, nothing like that. So unless you're into that sort of thing, obviously LinkedIn is just a cesspool of ex-used car salesmen that can now teach you how, change your life. It's horrendous. LinkedIn. I don't know why anyone goes on LinkedIn. But obviously Facebook was kind of just reconnect with your mates. Instagram came along and it will share your dinner, share your salad that you've had.
Yeah.
But then TikTok, again, exactly that. It started off viral dance trends and weird things like that, and a lot of lip syncing and no one really being original, because all your video could go viral by copying what someone else is doing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then suddenly you're big, but now it's not enough to copy what other people are doing. You need your own thing to do. And man, TikTok is literally the Wild West and the
People making
easiest to
noises and shit.
scroll, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's so weird. But like, luckily, Twitter's algorithm now, since Elon took over, is incredible. Like, just an hour of liking and saving the right post, you'll never see any crap again that you don't want on your timeline. It's incredible. Instagram's getting better, but after about a week, it will then start showing you the junk again, right? But TikTok, my fucking God, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll get like one video out of every 10 is the thing that you actually like, and the rest is just crazy stuff from around the world. Random like people with 2 followers coming in front of you for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
And then just all the mad trending. It's a mad fucking platform. I still wholeheartedly believe that it's the Chinese depopulation program to infiltrate the US.
Yeah, I've seen like scams as well, right? Which kind of leads into what we're here to talk about with regards to TikTok, especially TikTok as well, is you just don't know. You don't know unless you're educated what people are trying to flog to you, right? In terms of the health supplements and stuff. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like, is it possible to buy 20 grenade bars like, cheaply off of TikTok? Yeah, it probably is. But also you got to be mindful of the actual crap that people are trying to sell to you as well. So if you are a listener of the podcast and you are a TikTok scroller and you're coming across, I don't know, Devon Tea boutique who's trying to sell you something that's going to make your weight loss go faster, speed up your metabolism, what are you doing? Apart, obviously, for us, it's quite easy to go, that is utter bollocks. I'd never buy that in a million years. But for somebody that's quite desperate, they're trying to lose weight. They seem to be thinking that they haven't got the ability to do it on their own, and they see this product. It's quite easy to pick it up, right? So how would you tell them to have a look into, or what would you advise them before going and purchasing the product?
This is the massive battle that we fight. We've fought it since marketing became a thing, right? Because if you've got enough money to put into a proper marketing budget with decent copywriters and market research and things like that, you can find those emotional triggers. And that's how these products get so big. If you think about it, really, the product doesn't even have to work, because sadly, especially in the supplement market, stuff's not really regulated. It's a bit better now than it was, but in terms of a tea, as long as you don't, no pun, as long as you don't guarantee that it's going to make you lose weight or things like that, it's so sketchy. And all it takes is that person that's just kind of realised they're in pain, they want to do something different, and they know internally it's a long journey ahead and they're not too sure if they can do it, and they feel embarrassed to go to the gym because they look horrendous and they know they're going to be starting out and people might make fun of them, even though that's never going to happen. Or they're just not too sure what to do. They buy a diet book that they don't have the time to follow, or they don't quite understand it. They need to be coached through proper lifestyle change. But suddenly this product pops up that promises fast results, and all you got to do is drink tea. Who wouldn't go for that? Who wouldn't go for that, right? And we all fall for these things in some way, shape, or form. We've probably fallen for it with like business stuff or coaching stuff.
I'll tell you what I fell for it for app that thought it could teach, or I thought it could teach me how to play the guitar.
Oh yeah, mate, same thing. Same, like I'm sure. I do worry about the fitness industry, and I worry that some of the scammiest, shameful, and dangerous things that we see in our industry, I think, does that happen in other industries? And it kind of does. Maybe not to a dangerous extent, but learning a guitar from an app is probably going to work for 10% of the population who want to learn guitar. For everyone else, it's going to take something very, very, very differently. Multiple videos, coaching, learning with a person. It's obviously there's more than one ways to learn to build a skill.
Yeah.
But it's again, if I really, really want to get better at guitar, but maybe I haven't got the money to invest in a coach or a guitar teacher. I shouldn't say coach, a guitar coach. Maybe that's a new thing I should start.
Guitar
I'll coach you through guitar.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm in. I know your copywriting skills could defo sell me into it.
The problem is I could play guitar, but I can't teach it. Because someone will go, "What chord is this?" And I'll go, "I don't know." Sounds all right, doesn't it?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm like Phoebe from Friends. That's the suspense chord. That's the the James Bond chord. That's the mellow summer morning chord. You know.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it just taps into that emotional need. We want to improve. We want to move away from pain, and we don't always want the struggle. We know most of the lessons come from the struggle, but if you could get to the goal without that struggle, then why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? But we know that that's a false promise, that it's never that simple. There's nothing with no struggle that can guarantee that result at the end of it. There's nothing. But people in that early stage of contemplation don't realize that. They've only just become aware they're in pain. So of course they're going to look for the easy route first. If it was as simple as we can just cut out all the nonsense, all the marketing, all the booties, all the pills, the potions, the powders, the crazy fitness things that don't actually work for people, and just explain on a level basis to the entire population about eating right, protein, weight training, activity, sleep, still not everyone's going to go for it.
Yeah.
And I know that because Ozempic is quite easy to get in this country now, or whatever brand name it's under now. And I had this conversation with Ben at the gym the other day. But it's it's not freely available, but it's more available if you're in that type 2 diabetic category, obese, or even just overweight. Don't even have to be obese. You can get that prescribed to you from your GP. And this is like generation 3 of those semaglutides drugs that are going to help you. They're going to help you lose weight because they blunt your appetite. You're not going to want to eat. So therefore, you're going to lose weight. We're on generation 3, publicly available. Generation 4 and generation 5, the studies are being done on, and you lose it faster than Ozempic, a lot faster than Ozempic. So come generation 5, by the end of the 2020s, which will be available on prescription, it's literally going to be a case. Mike Israel said this recently on Modern Wisdom, and it's brilliant. It's literally going to be a case of, do you take it or not? Because if you take it, you're going to lose weight because you've just put something in your body that is going to completely blunt your appetite as well as some other effects. You're going to lose weight. That now becomes the guaranteed injection pill that people have always wanted, always looked for, and it's about to come onto the market. But that doesn't mean everyone who's overweight and obese is still going to rush out to take it, because there's so many people that don't realize they're in a painful position. There's so many people that, I mean, you have to inject that every week. There's going to be people that don't inject it every week because they've got no structure, they've got no schedule. It's not enough of a emotionally powerful goal to want to lose weight anyway. They're just doing this because doctors told them you need to go on this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of terrifying that we still want the easy option. But even when the easy option's presented to us, loads of people still don't take it.
Yeah, like inaction almost leads to inaction when you know it's that easy, right? And
you
I
don't
know
even get to relapse.
Yeah, I don't even know if it kind of is relevant, but the first time I ever walked into my therapist's office, let's call it office, or the therapy room, and started having a chat about how I was feeling at the time. It was obviously at my complete lowest. I was very upset, not a very well man. And she said, I'd like you to go to your GPs and get yourself prescribed onto some anxiety medication because she felt that it would help me in that time. And I basically turned around and said no. And I wonder if that would happen because I knew somehow within me, and I just had this belief that I was going to be okay without the medication. I just needed to talk about what was going on and work out my own way. I didn't know that I needed to work out my own way because at the time I thought I was all right, but that's a different story altogether. I just turned around and bluntly said, no, I don't want the medication to help me. And I wonder if as well, there is a group of or a large group of people that would go into their GPs and say, I'm overweight, I've got type 2 diabetes, my joints are hurting, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And the GP would turn around in 2020 or 2029 and 2030, sorry, and say, here's Ozempic, like it's going to literally get you to shred body fat or just weight in general. Whether people would turn around and say no because it is a medication that they don't want to take.
Yeah. And with medication, even with the semaglutides now, I don't know what will be the case when the new ones come out. That's not really my area of expertise. But obviously side effects are a big thing with any medication. So the more powerful the drug, does that potentially bring the risk of more side effects? I'm sure that's what they're testing for now. But that's always a concern for people as well. How many people didn't take the vaccine, not necessarily from a conspiratorial position, but because they're just not sure of it? Could this lead to other issues? Am I safe taking it when it has been shown to have side effects for this demographic? And do I even know if I'm in that demographic? And you're well within your rights to. Of course you are. You should never. No one should ever be forced to take a medication. Of course not. But you have to question why you're even at a point where you might need, or it's even being suggested to take that medication. But like kind of bringing it back to the teas and the detoxes and the stuff like that. We'd rather go for something perceived to be easy with no side effects, because obviously there are no side effects apart from your wallet gets very, very, very fucking light.
Yeah.
That doesn't really have any basis in truth. And if anyone's listening to this that is not too, let's just take these teas as an example. If you think you'll never need to buy a branded tea product that is geared towards any sort of weight loss whatsoever, because you can just drink green tea.
Yes.
You can drink green tea multiple times a day, bearing in mind it still has caffeine, so you still got to think about your sleep routine. You can drink green tea multiple times a day. It has products in it. Well, it has caffeine, right? Caffeine's going to help with mobilizing fat, give you more energy, so you're moving around more, probably get a better workout, so you're moving around more, burn more calories overall. Fantastic. It's got catechins catechins, which can help mobilize fat. You can't burn fat without mobilizing it from the cell first. And these catechins help you mobilize the fat, which gives more opportunity to burn that fat off. Cool. You're losing calories, you're burning fat. But in the grand scheme of things, of overall what it takes to lose fat, those green teas are probably 1% of the entire picture. Maybe like, and 1% that's just me throwing. In fact, let's try and figure it out quickly. 3,500 calories a week. 3,500 calories to burn a pound of fat, right?
Yep.
Spread that across the week, because that's simply divided by 7, 500 calorie deficit every single day.
Yeah.
It's going to do it for you, right? I reckon from memory, I can't remember the dosage because it was done in tea and it was done in pill format as well, I believe. But I think multiple green teas gave you an extra 138 calories burnt off across the course of the week.
Yeah.
So you've got to get into a 3,500 calorie deficit, and those teas are giving you 138 calories off that 3,500. Everything adds up. Of course it does. If you do 10 things that are 138 calories over the course of the week, suddenly you've burnt 1,138 calories of that 3,500. That's cool. It all counts. More than one way to skin a cat, more than one way to lose weight. But that is not the thing that's going to move the needle the most, the fastest, the most long term. And it's not even the most, I hate the word, but it's not even the most sustainable either. Because obviously, you can take it if you're away from your box, your branded box of green tea or whatever. A lot of these companies with these teas, if it is a branded thing, will probably put extra stuff in there. Maybe L-carnitine, maybe which can help mobilize fat themselves as well. Maybe a bit more caffeine content or something like that. And now you're just like, well, why not just get a caffeine supplement? Or why not just drink more coffee, getting the same effect? Why has it got to be a box of tea shouldn't cost me 20 quid? Really? When man can go to Tesco and get green tea with lemon for £5, you know?
That's literally the price of the one that I got sent through the other day.
Really?
It's called
That's
Real.
ridiculous.
It's called Real Gut Feel.
Come on.
Natural prebiotic digestion, bloating, cramping, and weight loss. Daily Greens organic supplement.
Oh my god! So,
20
so
quid,
they've just chucked everything in it.
£19.58. And again, actually, just chucking that into the conversation today, there also seems to be a large rise of people in the industry talking about bloating and cramping
Yeah.
being very much related to people's diets and stuff. Is that something that should be really dialed in and focused on from a weight loss coach's perspective, from a
From a
perspective?
yeah. I mean, if you think right, bloating and cramping, bloating more for I mean, fellas, we don't get cramps. We don't. Unless we're talking about muscle cramps, in which case it's probably an electrolyte imbalance or severe dehydration. Easy fix. If you're getting muscle cramps all the time as a fella, easy fucking fix. You're not drinking enough. As a woman, obviously very, very different. Have a very different system in there. The bloating and the cramping from that, definitely not my area of expertise. And I know some phenomenal coaches that would be able to help you with that. But again, like, it's probably in response to the internal environment you're creating in there, your gut health, from the quality of the food, from the quality of the sleep that you're getting, from how much exercise activity you're getting, from your hydration. Again, fix those things, you're more likely to fix the bloating and the cramping.
Yeah.
Go for the bloating and the cramping. Fucking hell. Yeah, cramping. I was going to say clamping. Go for the bloating and the cramping and the clamping first. You're I forget who say it, but and I'm going to butcher it. I think I butchered it on the last time I was on here, that you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies or whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah, no, it totally
Whatever the
makes
phrase
sense.
is,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever the
yeah.
phrase is. And to be fair, I think that phrase works both ways anyway. Like you've got to look at the root cause first. What's causing the bloating and the cramping? Over, let's try and kill the source, not the symptom, right?
Yeah.
So none of these products do that, because none of them are lifestyle change.
When you kind of look at that as an overall picture, because you mentioned it earlier, like we know a lot of people, including, well, for me myself, if I've got a headache, I'm gonna try and avoid paracetamols and stuff until the point where I desperately feel like there is nothing going to shift this. The first things I'm going to think about are how much daylight I've had in the day and how hydrated am I at that point in the day. There's two things that you can do to potentially help with a headache. And of course, you do get ill. Like, that is not a thing. I'm potentially suffering with COVID right now, so I can speak about this from experience. But all of my early life, I would get some kind of illness or unexplained feeling and then look for something outside of my control or somebody outside of my control to come and solve it, without knowing about like the pillars of a healthy lifestyle, which now I include, right? So which could go as far down the line as having a good morning routine, to just even something as basic as making sure that I've got 2.5, 3 liters of water going into me every day in some format of another fluids, that aren't going to dehydrate us. Not too much coffee is where we're going with that, or caffeinated drink. But how many people are there that do come into said circumstance of they find themselves in a situation where they want to change their weight loss, their weight and how much body fat they have on them. They're not happy. They're not confident. They've got no energy. They're experiencing the side effects of that because their diet's poor, by getting cramping, bloating, and clamping apparently is a new thing as well. But also, and then alongside those two things, it then taps into the mental health side, because they're not feeling very well. They're not looking and like thinking of themselves very well. So then the whole low mood ebb comes in. How many of those people that happens to goes for an outside influence to try and solve their problems, rather than actually being like, oh shit, like what have I done to contribute to the situation I'm in? And that's no I'm not talking down to anybody. I'm not trying to patronize anybody by saying that, because I was that person at one point in my life, right? And maybe you were as well, mate. Maybe at some point in your life. But I know you've always been pretty on top of your physical health. But without the education that hopefully a podcast like this can give around the foundations that you can put towards your overall health and others, of course, and the like amount of amazing PTs, coaches that we know in the industry now that you can go and invest in. How many people are going and just going on the phone to their GP and trying to get their answer that way?
Yeah, yeah. Because we still hold them in such high regard. It's weird that, you know, as much as influencers, celebrities, journalists, politicians all moan about the NHS, the general public still put a lot of their faith in it because it's the thing that's most easily available and accessible to them. You know, I mean, maybe not now if you sit on the phone for 3 weeks to trying to get an appointment, which again shows the whole system's overloaded and fucked. If people put more priority and emphasis on their own health, that would fix it. Everyone talks about more funding. No, it means less people going in there in the first place because they need to sort their own fucking issues out, so they're getting less headaches, less flu, less colds, less injuries. It's fixable. Like, vote me for Prime Minister next time. That's all I'll say.
Do you know what? And I'm very separated from the like watching anything to do with politics. But one of the first things that I heard, or in the car, or I don't know, but it was a politician basically admitting that the NHS was broken, and you don't need to be a genius to work that out. I mean, even with the things that you hear, people get referred to, or they've got said illness and they get referred to this. It's very quick and easy now to get referred to online mental wellness therapy and all those kind of things. It's almost like putting plasters over gaping wounds that are never going to heal themselves with all of the things that are being offered out. And look, I have an unbelievable and unprecedented amount of respect for anybody that works in the NHS, because it's like fighting fire with fire, I imagine, if you're in there. And I know a few people that do, but at the top and working itself down, it should be more about education than it should be like sticking sticky plasters on gaping wounds.
Yeah. And just trying to find a way to make sure that education's actually correct. The food pyramid is not amazing. The stuff kids are taught in schools is a bit flipping backwards. And even as an adult, there is no education. This is why our industry exists, because there was nothing else important. I'm not saying, and to be fair, I wouldn't even want to promote this idea anyway, but it's not the government's job to fix your health. Like, they can educate you. So, like, the reason the food pyramid and things like this is to help you make smarter choices, so you don't overload the flipping health system and you don't end up ill, and they haven't got to build more graveyards instead of houses and things like that. It's like they're there for me, minimal amounts of support for the people that need it most, and obviously defence and the correct spending of our taxes, which is a separate podcast in itself, but definitely not for your one.
I know for a fact that the government protein intake advice is way below. I know for a fact that if you were to look at an average man and woman's calories, it's way off anything based towards an individual. So from there, you've got a standpoint of, or you've got a starting point of how poor the information could be that's being shared.
Yeah. What's the two biggest things they've done? One was getting companies to put the calorie count on menus, which I think was amazing. 100% always should have been the flipping case. And a small minority kicked off, and it's more related to, of course we've got to be empathetic towards people that would be triggered by those sort of things, anorexics, eating disorders, obviously, of course. But that's also not the majority of the population. The majority of our population is obese and overweight, not anorexic. The second thing they did was the food labeling, traffic light system on food. Yes. What's the big red thing? It's always the fat. So what impression does that instantly give people? Fat's bad for you. Food with fat in you. And then that just feeds into complete nonsense. Shouldn't eat avocados. They're fattening. What is a fattening food? There's no such thing as a fattening food. They're fattening meals. Of course they're flipping off. But that's over a consistent basis, over time, overdoing the amount of calories and not moving. So the two biggest shifts that they've done haven't helped people in the grand scheme of things, really. You can put the calorie count on the menu. People can ignore it. People can still not understand what that actually means and how relative that is to them. Or, as most people will likely do, they'll go, oh, this meal's 1,200 calories. Well, that's all right. I haven't eaten much today, without realising that they've already eaten 2,400 through other meals and things like that. So it's a little bit of a help, but it certainly doesn't fix the issue.
I saw, I never buy, I'm very good when I go for a coffee. I don't ever buy the the frappes and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff, right? However, I don't mind a mocha every now and again. That's a story for another day. But I did see recently on a Costa menu, one of their medium salted caramel frappes, 460 calories.
Ridiculous, right?
But then you give that as an example. Somebody may not have eaten all day, all morning, but they may have had a salted caramel frappe. They may be on 1,500 calories as like a
Mm.
baseline to lose some
Mm.
weight, or 1,600 calories. And then they eat a 1,300 calorie meal and they say,
Mm.
that's cool. I've not eaten
Yeah.
anything today. And then they wonder why they've not lost weight. It's because they've
Yeah.
not paid any attention to that.
Yeah.
Again, another topic for another day. Mate, fasting right now seems to be on the rise, not in a sense of intermittent fasting, not eating up until 12 o'clock, giving yourself an 8 hour window, and then not eating again after that. Sometimes it's even more
Mm.
minuscule than that, like a 4 hour window of eating can help with digestion, can help with energy if
Mm.
you want to do it.
Mm.
Fine. Obviously, as well, there's pros and cons of that, but the biggest pro is if you're eating for a smaller amount of time, the more likely you are to get
Mm.
yourself into a calorie deficit,
Mm.
which will promote weight loss. But I've just seen a few little inklings recently of 24, 48, 72 hour fasting, and I want to ask you as a mate and a
Mm.
coach what you're seeing about the pros and the cons of that. Because for me, as somebody that wants to promote healthy weight loss, healthy habits, not eating for 3 days to promote weight loss, for
Mm-hmm.
me, isn't a healthy way of doing it.
Yeah. Let's suggest something bad has happened in your life and you are so stressed and busy dealing with stuff, you physically can't eat and you don't eat for 3 days. You're going to have lost weight by the end of those 3 days, without a doubt. Can anyone say that that's a healthy way to lose weight? Certainly not. Now, that is not me comparing, trauma and stress and zero appetite to 72-hour whatever water fasts, but it's a similar mechanism. You're losing fat because you're not eating, so your body has to fuel its own processes from somewhere. So what's it going to do? It's going to go to the carbs you got stored in your muscle, and it's going to go to your fat cells. Your body doesn't want to break down muscle tissue. It doesn't want to. There's a pathway there, and it's tough for it to activate, and it only does it in times of extreme stress and malnutrition. Extreme. It's not going to happen. But it's a new product. That's what 72-hour fasts have been around since, well, let's go back thousands of years, if not longer, right? Fasting's been in religious culture. It's been in all sorts of different cultures. It's existed for a long, long flipping time. And the whole point of fasting was not just to lose weight, right? It's to go without. The two most popular fasting, Ramadan and Lent, big cultural things that go on for a long time. I can't tell you exactly how many days. I remember Lent is 40 days. I can't remember Ramadan. My clients, I used to have Muslim clients at UP that would be fasting through the day and they're not eating or drinking until late at night. And just one day they're fucked. Training sessions would be terrible. They got zero energy. They got massive headaches because they can't drink. It's like you're putting your body through stress.
Yeah.
You could look at these fasts as a challenge, like these big extended fasts. Anyone can make intermittent fast fit into their lifestyle, their schedule, especially if they're super, super busy. 24-hour fasts, tricky. And not something you should really do on a regular basis. But longer than that, it should be like a one-off. Probably not doing it more than once a quarter. And then you got to ask yourself why you're doing it. What are you seeing? If you're doing it for a little bit of weight loss, well, guess what, bruv? We can get the exact same effects that you're going to get from a 72-hour fast in a calorie deficit over the course of maybe a couple of weeks, right? In terms of any health benefits, everyone talks about this. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. Autophagy, autophagy, whatever it is, which is created through fasting. Well, it's also created through a calorie deficit and exercise. It's just in petri dishes. It seems to happen faster through a fasting the cell rather than feeding it a deficit. But that doesn't necessarily carry over to humans. Always, all these things. Ask yourself why you want to do it. If you want to take it on as a challenge, cool. If you want to take it on as a way to potentially reset your relationship with food and hunger, cool, but there's deeper issues at play there that you've got to dig into, and a giant fast is not going to be the one. You think if you're the type of person that can't go 2 hours without eating, how the hell are you going to commit to a 72-hour fast when you've never done anything like that before? That could be something you build up to through smaller intermittent fasting chunks, or just through proper nutrition, calorie deficit, moving, eating, etc. And obviously your sleep. It's become popular because guys with all the money that can do this under laboratory conditions, who can afford it, like Dana White's been the most popular one recently, right? And that became men's health cover model, or not, maybe not cover model, but became a massive men's health article and things like that. And everyone's talking about it. And now Gary Brecker's super huge because of that. And that's proof of his work. But then we've got 50 million guys and girls that have lost weight, the exact same body at the end of it without going anywhere near this type of fasting.
Yeah.
For me, it's always ask yourself why you need to try that. Why that over something a bit more sustainable in terms of your lifestyle? Why something with less aggression and, I don't know what word I'm looking for because I've only had one coffee a day, but less, your 72-hour fast, you're not giving yourself any food, right? So, what is the word? Well, you're just not going to have yourself. You're not going to give yourself something. That's really weird that I can't think of it. And I know it's a really simple word. But
Energy? Energy? Are you looking for energy?
No, like in terms of
Yeah.
the actual word of the act of denying yourself. Oh, denying, there you go. So that
There you go. Yeah.
You're denying yourself food. Why do you think that protocol is going to work? Well, you have to deny yourself something that's not essential to losing weight. There's no method that is superior to the others when everything's accounted for in terms of calories, protein, content, and calorie deficit. There's no method that is superior, that is streaks ahead of the other,
It can
so
be.
Why go for it?
Yeah, related to your like environment as well, because you can see that if your best mate is a bodybuilder, or your buddy that you're training with is a bodybuilder, you're likely to take an interest in going into the bodybuilding side of training, right? If your mate is a powerlifter and you train with your mate, the likelihood is that you're gonna go and like take on or try and get better at powerlifting. And then when it comes to fasting, if your mate is doing fasting and you see that he's lost, I don't know, how many calories could you, like, you'd probably lose half a stone maybe in 3 days, would you?
Potentially.
If you're looking, if you're dropping 3,500 calories a day, potentially that much, plus the water weight, that's always going to look great on the scales as well, right? That is going to, on the face of things, go to you as somebody that's looking at your mate going, oh, he's just done a 72 fast, he's lost 1 and a bit stone or 6 pound in body fat, whatever. Go, oh shit, that might work. There's all very much like a thing that goes around, but I don't, again, alongside the education thing, I don't think there's enough that says like this is what's good about it. And do you know what? For a laugh, I put it into Copilot to see, which is an AI thing. And I just said, what are the pros and cons? This was earlier on today of doing a 72-hour fast, right? They've given me 7 positives of it and 2 risks.
Really?
So, yeah, which is crazy. So, again, like I mean, from my point of view, I'm not educated enough in 72-hour fast enough to argue against it. But however, I could personally give you some more negatives than what they've given me. So 72-hour fast, cell regeneration, apparently, autophagy, which is the one that you said. Blood sugar levels decrease. Well, obviously, because you're not fucking giving your body any sugar from food. That's a no-brainer. Heart health on the rise from 3 days of not eating. Interesting. It says fasting may lower blood pressure and reduce heart disease risk over 3 days. Maybe we could point a counter argument towards that. Weight loss, again, obviously you've not eaten for 3 days, you're going to lose weight. Reduced inflammation. I mean, eating in general can, if you're eating highly processed food, can get your body to inflame, and especially your stomach, hence the bloating and the cramping, which we've spoken about already. So again, that's an obvious benefit. Boosted immune system. Again, you could question that one because
how do you?
Yeah.
Well, technically, if you boost your immune system, you become ill. When you've got a cold, when you've got the flu, that is your immune system boosted, fighting the bacteria. You don't catch a cold and become ill because of what the cold's doing to you on its own. It's the battle between your immune system and the cold that creates all these symptoms because you're trying to fight infection. So boosting your immune system, it's not something you want to do. Not that water fasting is actually going to make you ill.
No. And then anyway, the risks that it says, well, it just says bullet point, medical supervision. If fasting 72 hours, consult a doctor. So actually, maybe that says all we need to know about it. And then preparation. Water fasting can cause issues if you're not prepared. So I mean, look, I guess the two final points there. But like you've already alluded to, Rob, is that if you are doing this and you can't necessarily pinpoint your whys, if you're doing it as a punishment to yourself because you think you've eaten too much at the weekend, if you're doing it as a get quick, get lean scheme, then maybe again you can think about doing other formats of this, like you've already again alluded to with regards to a decent calorie deficit over a shorter amount of time, which can obviously and will promote a quicker, faster way of getting fat loss. And again, I know we've got potentially different mindsets towards a deeper or a bigger calorie deficit than if somebody was to come to you as a coach with your experience in the programs you've been in the past, you know that people have been put in way bigger calorie deficits than what I'd probably put my clients in, right? What are the pros and cons of that?
Well, what of the calorie deficit?
Being
all the things that Copilot listed for a 72-hour water fast.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Optimize, not boosted immune system, less risk of decreased risk of heart disease, weight loss on a more permanent basis as well. Because what happens after the end of the 72-hour water fast? You can't do whatever the next 24 hours. I can't do math. You're not going to do a 148-hour fast. Like eventually, your body will go to the muscle. So all those things that were listed as pros of the 72-hour water fast are still achievable through normal intermittent fasting, through regular eating, through any other diet method, really. There's nothing in that list that is exclusive to extended long-term fasting. Nothing. And even then, some of those things have only been shown in laboratory, not in humans, such as the autophagy. And autophagy happens on a regular basis throughout the day, as well as cellular regeneration. Your body wants to get rid of dead cells. They renew themselves all the time. Like, I think it's like every 7 years, basically, your body is made up of entirely new cells to what it was the previous 7 years. Your body does this stuff for you. You've just got to feed it and support it to allow that to happen, which is what people aren't doing. So if you've got 20 years of eating like a moron, all the junk, not eating, stress, not sleeping, and you try a 72-hour water fast, cool, you're going to lose a little bit of water weight and you're going to slightly decrease your inflammation. If you look at Dana White, he was severely bloated, holding a lot of water and inflamed to fuck. That's what happened at the end of his 72-hour water fast. He's also got the team and the money behind him to support that and keep that process moving forward. Not the fasting, starts eating again, starts eating protein, starts exercising correctly. All the things that he could have done anyway. It just would have taken him maybe slightly longer to have that end photo, you know?
I know for a fact that if I was to ever be financially free, I would get PT'd 3 times a week, like professionally, and I would have a private chef, like a chef that would cook me healthy, nutritious food every day that I knew that they knew that I liked, and not because of laziness, just because like being healthy and feeling good so high on my priority list right now. Why wouldn't I pass they don't have to exercise for me, they don't have to eat the food for me, but they know what should be in it and they know what should be in that workout to get the results that I was looking for, right? And then it's just interesting, isn't it, how different people prioritize different things.
It's taking the thinking out of it as well. If you think you've got a PT, my clients never have to worry about what they're going to do in that gym session. I've already got it planned out. I've got the next 12 months of their program planned out pretty much. They have questions they're worrying about their food. I've got the answer, the suggestion, the things that we can try. They haven't got the time to make decent, healthy food that fits in their plan, but they've got the money for a private chef. Why the hell wouldn't you? If half the reason you can't cook is because you genuinely don't have the time because you're too busy with other things, but you've got the financial availability to get a private chef. Why the hell wouldn't you? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? If you've got the money to invest in a personal trainer, again, why wouldn't you? It's gonna, if you've got a decent one, which obviously is the sad thing, you don't necessarily know up front, even though there's some red flags that will tell you if they're decent or not. You've just invested in decreasing the amount of time it's going to take you to get to the result you want of losing weight, improving your health, getting stronger, faster, fitter, whatever the hell. You've got return on your investment there. When you try and do it all on your own, I had a lovely chat with a lady yesterday. She's been doing home workouts using Apple Fitness. There's zero accountability. So if she's not in the mood to do it, she's not going to do it. There's not much progression because the app, it's not even really AI fitness apps yet. They can't tell you how to progress. They can just tell you, well, you should do this today. And if you haven't actually adapted to that program because you're an individual, then what can you do? Like, she can lift the 4 kilo dumbbells overhead, but she can't lift the fives. Well, what do you do now? The app can't answer that for you. So that's where, again, the personal expert edge comes in. And she's made the decision to invest because she knows to get to where she wants to go, it's the smartest route because she's got accountability, guidance, support, and expert advice at the same time.
Yeah.
So why would, if you've got the financial availability to do that, why wouldn't you? The saddest thing about my industry as well, that we have to get paid. We have to get paid, and most of our stuff's done on a time-to-time basis. We can put tons of free shit out there, as all of us should, as all of us really flipping should. But again, like, free information is also some of the least valuable to some people because they don't take action on it because there was no struggle to get it. Same as lottery winners blowing all the money. There was no, that you don't value that money because you won it rather than worked for it. Very, very, very different. The Forbes top 50 list is not lottery winners.
No.
It's business owners, CEOs, and it's not even necessarily family wealth, right?
Yeah. What you said something interesting there. Red flags of a PT that might show that they're bad. What might they be?
Well, ideally there should be some sort of results, and if there's not,
what ones that they've got themselves or ones that they've got for other people?
Both. I'd say both. If someone's not in the best shape themselves, there could be multiple reasons for that. I'm going to be a little bit empathetic.
Yep.
But again, that's also it's a question. You should ask why. But they've got tons of results of good results of what they've done for people, results that you are inspired by and you want to get, you're probably all right. But it's still kind of, why aren't they doing it for themselves? It doesn't mean that the PT has to be lean all year round. It really doesn't mean that at all. How they come across as well. Are they talking about how they can help you, or are they talking more about themselves? Do you get any sort of, I think we are good at picking up on this. I think we know when we're just going to be sold to, which is why we walk past the people in the bright blue, orange, yellow, green jackets on the street. As soon as we catch them in the eye, we've crossed the road because we know this person's going to sell to me. Okay, it might be for a charity, but this person wants my money. We do have that inside of us. So we've got to utilize that. Does this person genuinely seem like they care, or is it all about them? Is it all about them and what they've done for themselves rather than people? And this is the tougher bit, but are they promoting something that's unrealistic? And most people don't understand what is realistic or not. If all their stuff is constantly talking about fast, rapid, easy, we know that's not the case. We know that's not the case. So they're just trying to market you something that, on a volume basis, if they get 100 people buying their 20, 30, 40, 50 pound, 100 pound program, $3,000 program, and I don't know, 60% drop off, they've still made a crap ton of money. And it doesn't matter because the next round of 100's ready to go in the next round. So you just got to kind of take your time. Do ask questions. Same as if you were looking at a car, house, you're not going to go for the first one and go, that's it, I'm in. Like, you would try other things. Same clothes. You try other stuff on, see how it fits. Do you look good in it? Don't always just go for the first thing that you see.
Yeah, I think as well, it taps into that whole, which I don't even mind saying that I would have been guilty of when I first started the program that I've now created into the 100% program, right? Is that this is an easy thing for you to follow for 90 days.
Yeah.
And then one thing that, and obviously that's not just me, right? That's there's a million other coaches that do the summer shreds and whatever. And one thing that I'm being very mindful of now is when I'm on a call with a potential client or somebody who just wants some advice with me, is that especially if they're very overweight, let's just go with, have some work that they know that they want to and need to do, is
Yeah.
that whatever lifestyle they've had up to that point of change, if they want to be healthy forever, has to be gone. That lifestyle they've previously had has to
Yeah.
be gone. And I think that doesn't get spoken enough about in our industry neither, is that, like, I haven't gone from being 23 stone, not being able to run a mile, to be able to run an ultra by only doing it for a little period of time, right? There'd have been different
Yeah.
habits and different methods of
Yeah.
how I was trying to be healthy, but I've had a different mindset towards my own well-being for fucking nine years now.
And
9
even then,
years.
like, if you think you're not completing a marathon or ultra marathons by just running 5Ks, you're going the distance, you're pushing yourself. Someone who's a trainer who's lost the first 5 kilos, first 5 kilos is easy.
Yeah.
It really flipping is. It's how you're going to lose the next 5 kilos, or how you're going to lose the first 10. That's what a lot of the industry can't do. I've got clients, not every client, I'm not trying to just blow my own trumpet. I've got clients that have lost 30 kilos, multiple clients that have lost 30 kilos. I got a guy that lost 52 kilos in 45 weeks. Give me another geezer his size and I'll see if I can do it again. But some guys are celebrating a transformation when the person's dropped one dress size and reduced their bloating a little bit. I'm not discounting that at all. Anyone that does anything, more power to you. Well done. Keep going.
Yes.
Don't just take that one mediocre, semi-doable, easy thing and stop, because that's how you get stuck in that cycle. So we've got PTs whose programs are just going to be the next Weight Watchers and Slimming World. People lose a little bit of weight, stops. They get frustrated. They eat again. They put weight on. They stay again. They lose a little bit of weight. And it's just going to be the same thing, because no one's breaking beyond that 5-10 kilos or even that 10% where you've got a chance of changing your body's set point and maintaining what you've actually lost. We're not seeing that.
Love it. We got I'm gonna go to our final subject today. We belong to a accountability group program alliance, which obviously is unreal. It's helped both of us in where we've gone and where we're going within our lives. And one of the kind of taglines that we use, if members of our like friendship group do fucking cool shit and they get through life's challenges without being scolded or scathed. Scathed is a better word, not scolded.
Yeah, yeah.
We call it unfuckwithable, right? Becoming unfuckwithable, having an elite mindset to come over challenge, which of course we all get challenged in life at some point. It's just how you react to those things, right? And how we look after ourselves in those situations. Have we witnessed on TV in the last week the greatest example of being unfuckwithable of all time?
I think we've witnessed the most epic. Well, no, maybe like top 5 of the world ever, because there are some incredible stories of like old soldiers in the first 2 world wars that just kept relisting after get blown up
and
like
stuff,
they're fighting their fourth combat with like 2 eyes missing, shit like that. No,
one eye, one hand. Yeah.
They're really unfuckable. And obviously anyone that comes back from the most stressful situation of their life is 100% unfuckable. But we saw a guy get shot in the ear in front of hundreds of people, if not thousands, at that event. Stand up, address the crowd, get a photo taken, and then later that evening is playing golf, and the next day is at a big RNC convention. And like, that's not the majority of people on this planet. If you sort of like, you might like to think it's almost like a movie, because the movies are unrealistic. People get shot and then 5 minutes later they're up and running and they've taken multiple bullets and they're not dying. They would have bled out on the floor, you know. It was incredible. I think that's an absolutely iconic moment of our time, and what a time to be alive, to be living in this era. That's absolutely ridiculous. But but some people might like to think that, yeah, okay, that's how I'd react. But it's not. Think of when you shut your finger in the door, you're grabbing your finger and jumping around and for like 5 minutes, and this geezer got shot in the ear and he stood up seconds later,
give it the old
you
Winston
know,
Churchill peace
giving
fucking.
it the old,
Yeah.
and telling people to fight, and a surprisingly calm response to it all.
Yeah,
You know,
because look, this is probably the most unaligned podcast of all time. I don't want it to be attached to any kind of.
mm,
It's about you
mm,
becoming a better version of you, right? And or me becoming a better version of me. You're literally listening to and you for 17 episodes now, mate.
mm.
Us trying to
Come on,
become
come on.
better
Mm,
versions of ourselves on a daily basis. I've
yeah.
learned so much from doing this show. Spoke to some unbelievable people, and but one thing I will say is that if ever there was an example of somebody that can clearly handle themselves when pressure gets high,
Hmm.
when stress levels rise, uh, was that because
Yeah.
he just fucking got on with it. And
Mm.
a question that I'd ask people is like, if you were to drop a fucking cup of tea in your kitchen, or you was to get cut up on a roundabout, like how do you react normally? Because if
Exactly.
the answer
Yeah.
is you get really fucking volatile
Yeah.
and you throw
Mm.
shit and you have a tantrum, that might be a sign that there's something going on that you need to work on. And again, not in a
Yeah.
patronizing way. I've been there where I'd
Yeah.
fucking spill a drink
Same.
and like flip and fucking,
Mm.
or like even like back in the day, mate, like Xbox controller, like something shit happens on FIFA
Mate.
online, Xbox controller across the room, that's 45 quid down the drain. Brilliant.
100%.
Like, you know?
100%. That's the big thing in terms of how you do react in stressful situation. Let's take what should be the least stressful situation, which is which is the games.
Yeah.
Right. That's like road. There's even a name for it, right? Rage quitting, right?
Yeah, yeah, rage quitting,
You've
yeah.
quit the game because it didn't go your way. Well, that speaks volumes in terms of the type of person that you could be in other situations. Road rage, obviously, being one as well. That used to be my thing. I was a terrible road rager, absolutely shocking. That took some time to really work on. I don't know if I've completely eliminated it because at the moment, I haven't got a car, so I don't drive that regularly. So I don't know. That might come back. I may not have completely fixed that one. But it's also
Yeah, you can't have rage. You can't have road rage if you don't drive. That's a good
I can
way
get
to
I can
avoid
get
it.
I can get I can get pavement rage
Yeah,
and and
yeah,
train rage. I get those things still. But I think it's also a big indicator of underlying issues, right? That's
100,
what it is.
100 million
You're
percent.
not really that angry because someone cut you up. You're angry because of some other reason. And this guy who just got shot and stood up, and it's a surprisingly calm response for such a polarizing figure. Just kind of shows that I think one of the most respectable parts about it is that he kind of does have his shit together in many, many ways that most people aren't. That a lot of people aren't willing to acknowledge.
A million percent. Won't see the
You
other side
know,
of the coin. Yeah,
not an emotional response, not an unhinged response. That's a very respectable, admirable thing to do. The way he stood up and the way he's been since, nothing unhinged going on there. And you've got this guy who's, again, this is not going to get into political. I'm not even going to say whether it's good or not, but you've got this guy who's just been shot earlier in the year, is under criminal investigation and charged, multiple charges, the famous mugshot that came out. Like the witch hunt against this guy, as it is with most politicians, is brutal, is relentless. Same with Biden, same with Keir Starmer, same with Rishi Sunak, same with Farage. It's a witch hunt. I don't know why anyone would want to get in the political game. And I think when it gets to that level of stress and pressure, why would you continue that pursuit? Like that seems horrible, man. You're going to enter this job and people are going to shoot
especially,
at you. And people are going to shoot at you. Who would
as
want that?
all of those. I mean, I only know two definite examples, right? Donald Trump, one of the most successful businessmen of
Mm,
all time, may have been
yeah,
attached to the mafia at some point and done a few dodgy dealings
probably
along the way,
was. Probably
but
was.
notoriously known as a
Yeah,
successful businessman, right?
yeah,
You can't argue against that either way. He is a rich motherfucker. The
yeah.
same for Keir Starmer, new Prime Minister of the UK,
Mm,
one of the greatest like lawyers of all, like
mm,
British lawyers of all time. They're successful in their industry anyway. Why have
yeah.
they felt like they want to go and do that job which has even more pressure? I don't know.
It's
Again, you could
strange.
look at that
Yeah.
and say, does that make them unfuckable? Do they handle those high pressure situations quite well? Is there a reason that they're in those jobs? I don't know. I don't have. I'm very much skeptical to. This is British politics now. Sorry, very much skeptical to how much influence they have in a positive, or how influential
Yeah.
the political structure in the UK is anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do not
Yeah.
know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't think it's great. I don't think the COVID scandal has helped anyone's case, from like even back when they were scamming expenses up until now. That is not a great look for people who are supposedly running our country, right? That's my end
Yeah.
point. But to keep wanting to go and put yourself in the firing line, literally, is a testament to potentially how unfuckable those guys are. And then if I
Yeah.
flip it, like maybe the final point of the pod, I think I spoke about this recently actually with Stuart Kane. If I was to become successful, let's just go with my podcast goes up to 100, sorry, Instagram goes up to 100,000 followers, and I was to talk about this subject in front of 100,000 people, and only 1% of those people disagreed with me, that's still 1,000 people that aren't going to agree and will have an opinion on what we've just discussed about. And if I wanted to, I would then read those opinions, and then it had a could let it have a negative impact on me without, like, with ignoring the other 99,000 people. That is like, do you want to get famous in a nutshell, isn't it? Are you prepared to go in front of all of these people and potentially be fucking scapegoated? Who fucking knows? Who knows?
And that negative 1,000 will always be louder than the positive 99,000.
Yeah.
Always. Always. Especially with, going back to what we kind of started talking about, especially with things like TikTok. You scroll for 5 minutes through TikTok, like that can give you an impression of how the world works, or how the world thinks. But that's not true at all. It's just a louder minority.
2 questions to finish, mate. If you were to start all again, you had your knowledge you had now, but we're going to go back to Robb McGeary at 21. What would be the 2 health habits that you would go to straight away as you started your progression to where you wanted to be in terms of your healthy lifestyle?
Get to fucking sleep.
Get to sleep.
Get to sleep. Everything comes from it. We've spoke about it
a few times,
impossible number of times, and we're going to keep talking about it. Your energy, your hormones, everything, it all comes from your sleep. Getting piss poor sleep, you know this. You know the next morning you feel terrible and you can't function properly. So if you get the sleep right, that's like your foundation for a good day the next day, to have the energy to do whatever the hell else you want to do. In terms of exercise, not necessarily nutrition, because you can eat multiple different ways across your life. In terms of exercise and activity, find the thing that actually excites you, that you enjoy doing, not just what other people are telling you to do. There are, how many people did your ultra marathon? Hundreds, right?
That's a really fucking good question. 500 people, probably.
500 people. That's insane. That's more than I even thought, right?
Yeah.
Ultra marathon's not my thing. At one point, I've written it on my list of something I want to do as a challenge. Whether I continue doing that sort of stuff afterwards, I don't know. I love training people with resistance training, with strength-based training. I love helping people lose fat, build muscle, things like that. If someone came to me and wants to get in the best shape of their life, I'm not going to tell them to go run an ultra marathon, right? I'm going to help them do what I do best. But if someone comes to me and says, I want to run an ultra marathon, I'm going to refer them on to the people that can help them run an ultra marathon. That's their goal. I've got zero business, even if I think that person needs to lose some weight, I've got zero business saying, well, actually, you shouldn't do that. You should do this instead. And this is the polarization of the fitness industry. It's all, you shouldn't do that. You should do this. Well, technically, you can do all of it. You can do fucking all of it, because there's benefits to strength training, there's benefits to resistance training, benefits to endurance training, benefits to body composition, losing weight and building muscle. There's benefits to strengthening up your bone density. It all adds up to a fitter, longer, healthier, happier, hornier life. So you can kind of do all of it. And I know it's now labeled as hybrid training, but even in hybrid training now, it just seems to be heavy deadlifts and endurance training. That's all it seems to be. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's fuck all wrong with that. And if you love doing it and it motivates you to keep doing it, hell yeah, keep doing it. But people keep stopping and starting because they're trying the new shiny object and they're not motivated or excited to do that long term. So dig deep in finding out. And for me at that time, it was sprinting and Olympic lifting. But without properly recovering and without properly fueling myself, injuries were always going to happen, which just beat me the hell up. And sleep, I didn't sleep then either. So that's why I didn't recover between training sessions.
And then the final question, mate, which is, I mean, it's a great way to end. I like to ask in general, it's been a long time since I asked you the greatest bit of advice you've ever been given. But if I was to go, I know I've definitely asked you that before. This year, the best bit of advice you can remember off the top of your head that you've been given, what is it?
It's the one that always sticks with me. My old gym manager said it. I think it comes from the old martial arts book. I don't know how you pronounce it. So I'm just going to say the Hagakure. Could be wrong. Could have absolutely butchered that. It's 3 words that I would 100% get tattooed on my body. Introspection begets wisdom. If you're looking for the answers, they're in here first. You know, you can learn more by looking at yourself. You can learn more about yourself than anyone else can actually teach you, if you're willing to do the introspection. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly just getting plastic dopamine hits from the self-help industry. Is the guiltiest proponent in this. Is in this now. You go into the self-help section, and it's 20,000 flipping books, right? None of which really telling you anything new from the other book. Most of the stuff you need to learn is inside here about yourself and how you operate in different situations, how you respond to different stresses, what you're motivated by, what you're stressed by, what your passions are, and how you show up for other people. Self-help book can't teach you that. Jay Shetty can't teach you that. Modern wisdom ain't going to teach you that. Introspection begets wisdom.
I love that. My final point is that really links in with some of the work I did with Dax on when you he basically talks about how you have everything you need, you just haven't worked that out yet. So he gives you like a list of, it's almost like 5 Fs. So sorry,
love it.
But like not 5 Fs, like fucking 50 different words, and then defining them yourself, like what they mean to you. I've spoke about this on Stuart Graham's podcast a while ago, but we used like the love example. Like, what does love mean to you? Because at the moment, if you've never done it, your definition of love comes from your parents, your grandparents, your friends. And then, like, again, going back to what you just said about making sure that your training and whatever you're doing for your training is enjoyable for you. Well, if you think about your journey up from school to now, you're probably playing like, I don't know, a team sport, or you've learned that you don't really like sports because your PE sessions put you off. Like, and I've said it before now, you need to define what your version of fitness is. And yeah, like you could literally just list off words there, like what you could say, oh, I don't know, let's go with, I feel lost. All right, but what do you mean by feeling lost? A lot of people would say, I don't know, I feel lost. And that's where the introspection comes in.
Yeah. Dax knows. Dax is an OG, you know.
Oh, mate,
he's probably read that book as well, you know.
Yeah. Oh, mate, fuck me. Some of the stuff is unbelievable. Mate, where can people come and find you if they want to come and find out more about you?
Come find me. Fat Loss Fast Lane on Instagram is where I definitely used to be the most active. So come find me there and make me be more active on that platform again.
Yeah, do it, mate. Do it. And if you want to give me and Rob a 5-star review on the podcast, please go over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, drop a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, hi. Drop a like and subscribe below. Goes a long way to helping us out as well, pushing it beyond fucking 1,000 subscribers, even coming up to the 50,000 download mark whenever that so happens to be. Also, if you want to do some introspection yourself, journaling is a great way to start. Just by doing it at the start and the end of every day, you can get a free 14-day journal in the link below in the description. I'll see you all here with a new episode every Friday. Take care.